Continue to follow a news alert today involving two Chinese nationals accused of smuggling a dangerous pathogen into the United States.
And officials say the substance is a fungus that experts say could be used to threaten food crops if it spread. Fox News' Amy Lang joining us live now with what else she's learned. Amy.
Well, the complaint has certainly made for some interesting reading, Ruben Taryn. Investigators say this fungus could be used in agro-terrorism. It wipes out crops and sickens people and animals. And right now, it's just not clear what these Chinese scientists intended to do.
My name is Yun Qingjie.
33-year-old Yuxin Jian, a scientist and student from China working as a postdoctoral research fellow in a lab at the University of Michigan. On Tuesday, inside federal court, charged with conspiracy, smuggling, and making false statements. It's alleged her boyfriend, 34-year-old Yang Lu, also a scientist from China, was caught at Detroit Metro Airport smuggling a dangerous fungus into the country. Fusarium graminearum attacks barley, corn, and wheat, and could be used for purposes of agro-terrorism. According to this complaint, in July of 2024, Customs and Border Patrol found a wad of tissues in a pocket in Lu's backpack. Investigators say the tissues concealed a note in Chinese, a round piece of filter paper with a series of circles drawn on it, and 4 clear plastic baggies with small clumps of reddish plant material inside. Investigators say Lu lied about the materials before admitting he was smuggling them in to do research at the lab where his girlfriend was working at the University of Michigan. Investigators say Lu's iPhone contained an article titled 2018 Plant Pathogen Warfare Under Changing Climate Conditions. They also uncovered messages between the two conspiring to bring pathogens into the United States. He was denied entry and sent back. It's believed he's currently back in China. His girlfriend, Jian, is still here, now facing serious charges.
Conspiracy to commit an offense or defraud the United States, smuggling goods into the United States, false statements.
We're not allowed to have cameras in federal court, but I can tell you that this defendant looked very scared. She was handcuffed and shackled at the waist. She closed her eyes as the charges against her were read. According to the complaint, investigators say they found evidence that Jian smuggled biological materials into the United States prior to this, and that she is loyal to the Chinese Communist Party, which they say helped finance her studies and research.
Let me ask the government, what is your position on bond?
The government's seeking detention, Your Honor.
Seeking detention because they say she's a flight risk. The University of Michigan issued a statement condemning any actions that seek to cause harm or threaten national security. The university says it has received no funding from the Chinese government in relation to research conducted by the accused. So yeah, just a very interesting read, not a fungus that I have heard of before, and so it was quite educational to explore all of this. And again, we don't really know what the intention was.
Well, and
yeah, so you probably wonder what possessed people and these students to come over here and risk something like that, and why are they coming over here and flying and risking their freedoms. You basically ask yourself that question, and this is probably why. Now, on this next article, you could pretty much read it for yourself. This guy thought he was able to express himself, and it just shows you just how much pull the Chinese government has over the Chinese people. And in this video, we're going to dive deep about how they really recruit people and versus a lot of them really not wanting to do this job and being forced into, and a very small portion actually taking money bribes. So thanks for joining me. Enjoy this video. I got another clip going up, and this guy goes into detail about how the CIA and how America is actually doing the same thing and how this has been going on for a very long time.
60 Minutes Overtime. This week on 60 Minutes, we report on China's spies operating in the U.S. China's main spy agency, the Ministry of State Security, or MSS, is now the largest and most active spy agency in the world. The United States is its second biggest target. The first, China's own people, including those living abroad, right here in the U.S.
Chinese people on foreign soil are a risk to the regime. And they are a risk because they could be plotting. It's happened before. They could be agents of the evil foreign power. They could be learning something that she doesn't want them to learn. And so they are seen as a risk, not as a threat, but as a risk.
Jim Lewis is a former U.S. diplomat whose direct experience with China's intelligence agencies spans more than 30 years. What are some ways that the MSS is keeping tabs on that Chinese diaspora, people living outside of China?
The first step is a Chinese app called WeChat that's a social network for Chinese people. It's in Chinese. It's hard to do things in China without access to it. And it's completely monitored with the cooperation of the owner by the Chinese state.
Do Chinese expats know that?
Yeah, everyone knows it. So monitoring your social media presence, monitoring your online postings, and then another sign of brazenness, Chinese agents who are among the student bodies and who pay attention to students. And I've had Chinese students tell me, I couldn't talk in class because the fellow sitting over there in the corner would report back.
We asked Jim Lewis how China's Ministry of State Security recruits its spies in the U.S.
Everyone uses the same techniques, which is sex, money, revenge, right? That's how agents are recruited. You're a disgruntled employee. You haven't been recognized. And someone comes along and flatters you and says you can pay them back. Or there's the old honeypot thing, honey trap thing. Money works like a charm. Everyone does that.
The Ministry of State Security last year released a propaganda video on China's largest social network, boasting that the MSS fights against evil. Is it an advertisement or is it more propaganda?
It's both. It's both an advertisement to recruit people, and it's an advertisement to warn people that if you fall afoul of us, we will come after you. The Chinese want to give this perception of they're largely present everywhere anymore. They also want to recruit people. Recruiting has changed. It used to be that you identified somebody on a campus and then you ask them. That's one way. All intelligence agencies have changed how they recruit. But the Chinese have this extra message, which is Uncle Xi is watching.
China's Ministry of State Security isn't the only agency sending a message through flashy videos. The CIA recently released its own videos to encourage Chinese nationals to spy for the U.S. The CIA last year also published a text-based video in Chinese that provided detailed, step-by-step guidance on how to safely get in touch with the agency online. The videos tap into the fear of China's Communist Party, especially for those who still have family living in China.
The Chinese, where they have an advantage, is when the family lives at home, when the family's still in China, they have no compulsion about threatening the family. Work with us or the pliers go on grandma's nose, right? And I've talked to Chinese who now live overseas who've had experiences like that. The ability to blackmail people into being agents because of threats to their family is very powerful. And it's a tool denied to the West, but it's a tool that the Chinese are not at all bashful about using.
If you're a pro-democracy activist or a member of a group persecuted by the Chinese government, the reason this is harmful is pretty clear. But why should this matter to other Americans?
One of the precedents that I thought we had learned in the 1940s is that countries that don't respect their own citizens don't respect their neighbors. Fundamental rights are the basis of international security. And that doesn't mean it'll be easy, but that's why we have.
That's why he's doing what he's doing. I'm pretty sure you know how the rest of that interview went. But shout out to 60 Minutes. That's where I got that clip from. I don't want to get hit with copyright, but I'm about to show another clip of what people are taking action against it and how they're really about to shut this down. And honestly, I'm all for it because there's no winning like that. You basically putting Chinese people in the middle of a war that they don't even want to fight in. And it's about time that we probably just cut that off for a little bit. But thanks for rocking with me. If you was watching this long, please like and subscribe. I'm going to get more effects. I'm just, experimenting with my style. You know how it is. But join me on my journey as I get this thing started, man. Thank you.
China sends nearly 300,000 students here to study annually. Some of those students reward your kindness by spying on you and stealing your technology, from drone footage of defense sites to surveillance of training exercises. These students are majoring in spying. Why do we allow it? Joining us at Florida Senator Ashley Moody, who introduced a bill to stop it. Welcome, Senator. Thank you for being with us. Tell us what your bill does, and should we cut off these visas or just do a better job of vetting the students?
Well, thank you for having me. Great to be with you, and thank you for shining a light on this. You know, quite frankly, I'm not convinced that all of my colleagues know that China right now, by law, requires all of their nationals to cooperate with intelligence gathering and the CCP. It's a law. It's in black and white. So, you know, if we give visas to Chinese nationals to come here as students, and like you said, we're giving 300,000 a year to come into our universities and to come into this country, they are required by law, under penalty, some of their families have even been hauled in by the CCP, to gather intelligence and cooperate with the CCP. So why we are offering visas, why these are still being handed out, is insane at this time. I can't believe it, especially in light of a report that was released just last week but at Stanford that said it is happening right now. Some of these students came out and said, yes, they're hauling our families in. They're requiring us to cooperate. So spying is happening right here. It's by law but in China, and we are still issuing visas. It just makes no sense. It's certainly short-sighted, and for a country that values national security, we need to do something about it.
All right, Senator, I'm sure some of our viewers are wondering who vets these putative students. Is it the school itself, law enforcement, the State Department, or is there any vetting done?
Right. So presumably there's vetting done for all of these visas, but you're seeing the problems we're having at some of our universities where we have imported so many students that hate this country, hate our national policy. Actually, some of their actions undermine our foreign policy interests. We've seen that time and time again, especially in the last few years. But even more concerning is the fact that you have these laws that got passed in China in 2015, 2017. Congress in 2019 warned that operations by the CCP were in full effect, where they were recruiting students to come over here and spy. Now we have the recent report from last week that says they are indeed here and are spying. And so, you know, having a visa, getting a student visa is not a right. It's certainly up to our State Department in this country who we allow to come into this country. And we used to take spying really seriously here in this country, if you'll remember. And so I don't think that we should be enacting policies that are serving up military modernization, intelligence, innovation to the Chinese. We know that they steal hundreds of billions of dollars worth of our intellectual property every year. Their students are getting caught on military bases with drones and cameras, gathering information. And now we have the report saying they're here and spying. So it's time we do something about it. Look, I've been a senator for 100 days, and it took me that long to figure out this is a problem and to introduce legislation. We've got to move fast, and we've got to cut it off.